I consider Jonathan one of the truly consummate professionals in the real estate, commercial real estate industry here in Denver. Always upbeat, always enjoyable, and very creative.
He's a man of integrity, true to his word, very interesting and thoughtful, very intellectual. Really had a great ability to look at different perspectives.
Smart and just deeply likable. I mean, he was just one of those few guys that had the combination of real intellect and perspective and a likability and a humility that you don't really find in people.
So when I think of Jonathan and think of 5 words to describe him, I think entrepreneurial, smart, hardworking, fun, great hair.
He's very driven, he's very hardworking, honest as the day is long.
He was so respected in this industry, and there were a whole lot of qualities that he had that created that respect. His integrity, his intelligence, his deal sense. He just had this vision, and then he took his energy to make it happen. And he did that in an industry where people can tend to make enemies through transactions. He just didn't. He just worked through deals, whether they were easy deals or harder deals, and ended up friends with the people on the other side, and that made him really unique.
Jonathan's a big personality. He's got a big voice and a big laugh. And I think the thing that was evident to me right away is just how genuine he is.
For me, Jonathan was like a great red wine in a way. He was bold. He wasn't afraid of anything. He had a complex personality. I would say he was spicy in certain ways, yet he was very loyal and confident in what he was doing, and he made a great partner.
He's created some really special places around the town, and you can see it in the projects that he's developed, that there's a lot of passion and a lot of love that he puts into his properties. It's not just another apartment building or another office building. He builds something special and creates something that is a legacy, that is JB's legacy, that will stay within Colorado forever.
You know, what I can say about working with JB day in, day out is he ran his organization in a very egalitarian fashion. Everybody at LCP, or he certainly made me feel so, had a voice, had the ability to affect outcome in the business and to really make real contributions and be recognized for those.
Jonathan had a great financial mind, no doubt, but he also, I mean, his gift and it was his vision for creating special places. And if that meant restoring and repurposing an old building and, you know, putting it alongside a new structure and making those all, you know, mesh together seamlessly and create special places. I mean, I think he just was inspired by, you know, making great places for people to enjoy that enhance the character and the built environment in those communities. I think the project that really stands out for me is at 8th and Grant. It was a project that I think from the first time we put an offer on it until we finally closed was 6 years in the making. And during that time, I remember being in the car with Jonathan, and he said that he recalled his mother telling him that it was a project that his father had designed, and his dad was a renowned architect who had passed away when Jonathan was younger. And sure enough, Jonathan shows up one day in the office, and he's got a big, you know, leather zip portfolio, and he had found in his basement or in storage somewhere the original hand-drawn renderings and watercolored renderings of the original building that was built for IBM. And with it, he brought in these photos, and it was 1960s, I believe, and it was like straight out of Mad Men. I mean, these, you know, guys in skinny ties and smoking cigarettes in the office. And I think those photos are on display at 777 Grant today. And I think that one was particularly special to Jonathan, you know, because it then became a passion project for us to figure out how to repurpose that building so it would, you know, meet tenants' needs and, you know, and to modernize it while also preserving the integrity of the architecture. And today it's an enduring, you know, significant piece of architecture in the Cap Hill neighborhood.
He was a real expert at redeveloping assets, and most often in redevelopment, that has meant scraping buildings, and his ability to adaptively reuse buildings, recreate existing buildings, whether it was retail or industrial or office, was really remarkable.
My favorite project that I worked with Jonathan on was Edgewater Public Market. And to me, that was a collaborative project, even though Jonathan did all the heavy lifting. It was something that was a project that was not just a real estate development project, but it was creating a center of gravity, a sense of place for a part of Denver that I don't think had one before that.
Jonathan is unbelievably creative, just can take an idea and create it into something really awesome.
One of the projects that he worked on not too long ago was the Edgewater Market. And he asked me if I wanted to invest in that. And it's a kind of real estate that I was not overly comfortable with. So I invited my son Sean, who at that time was working at Legend Partners, to come along. And I really let Sean drive that conversation and discussion. At the end of the day, I just said to Jonathan, this one's not for me. And not long after that, I got a call from Jonathan and said, I'm gonna hire your son, Sean. And I said, really? And he said, yes, I hope he's smarter than you.
His devotion in NAIOP through mentorship of young people. Since Jonathan's passing, I've run into numerous people that have really cherished mentorship that Jonathan had with them. And frankly, I was unaware of that. But Jonathan really wanted to give back, particularly to young NAIOP members.
Well, I can say the reason I'm a past president is because Jonathan was a past president. So when I first started working for him, when I first moved here in the 90s, he really encouraged me to get involved with NAIOP because it had been such a great experience for him. He was a president during the time that I worked with him, and he just really encouraged me to get involved and participate and contribute. And I can honestly say I don't think I would have been a president if he had not been a past president and encouraged me to do that.
Jonathan was my inspiration to get into NAIOP, and shortly after joining the firm, knowing his legacy with the organization, I asked him if the firm would support me in joining as a member. And JB made it very clear that they fully supported me in becoming a member, but if I wanted to just come to a few events, to not even bother, that it was really about getting involved, participating, contributing, and making sure I got myself on a committee and really, again, involved in the organization.
I was recognized last year as the President Award winner from NAIOP, and it was really meaningful to me because I love the industry and the people in it and have committed my career to leadership and partnership in the industry. And Jonathan and I shared that view of real estate, that it was really just about partnership and about relationships. Last year, Jonathan was the very first person who ran up to me after I received this award because he was authentically so thrilled for me and went through sort of blow by blow everything in my speech and everything he felt about it and everything he felt about NAIOP. Really cared about NAIOP, and I know personally that this would mean the world to him.
The first discussions were always about how was your weekend, conversations about kids, what they were up to, where they were growing. So I had the great pleasure of kind of being able to share stories about my kids with Jonathan and hear about Liam and Addie and everything that they were up to and all the way through college and into adulthood. And I just know that that was always at the center of what was important to Jonathan.
My relationship with Jonathan was very special to me. I think we enjoyed a really unique kinship. We could be apart for each other for months. We'd connect over the telephone, but we wouldn't see each other. And when we would see each other, it was as if we were long-lost friends that just had this unbreakable bond.
The ability to never understand the word no. And every time you heard the word no, you would rephrase your question, or he would rephrase his question or his approach to eventually obtain a yes.
He was always very caring about his relationships, and that included whether you were worked with him, whether you worked as a partner or whether you were across the table from him. I think he was very thoughtful, very respectful, and I admired that a lot.
He never grandstanded. And he just was never a guy that would stand up in a meeting and look at me. I mean, he was a guy that would sit in the meeting and listen and was thoughtful. But as often as not, was the smartest guy in the room.
He demonstrated that being a good person was a driver for success, that just doing the right thing, being a great guy, and building trust-based relationships was a equation for being successful.
The influence he had on me was, and that I carry forward in my own personal life, my career, is just be true to your principles, be passionate about what you do.
As a developer, Jonathan always wanted to build projects that served the communities that they were in, and that they would, in 20 or 30 years, when you drove by that project, you would go, wow, that's still a great project.
His laugh. We always laughed, no matter how stressful the situation was, no matter what it was, whether it was family or work. We enjoyed each other's company. The other thing that I will miss is him finishing my sentences. He could tell what you were going to say maybe before you thought you were going to say it, and say it in a way that was better than was probably going to come out of your mouth.
I'm not only a better professional for having worked for Jonathan, but I'm a better person for having known him. He had a huge influence and impact on my career, but ultimately a greater impact on my life. I wish you were here. I miss him. Cheers, pal.
He'll be remembered as a genuinely nice, honest, and honorable guy.
Not only was JB a great developer, a great partner, business partner of ours, but he was also a great friend, and we'll certainly miss JB.
Like JB's friendship meant a lot to myself and other people in that he was a foundation, probably of what to do, what not to do, how to do it, and when to do whatever you're going to do in your life.
Liam and Addie, just wonderful kids, and are gonna further the Bush tradition in Denver, Colorado.
He had such an impact on my life. It affected me personally and the person I want to be and how I want to carry myself, how I want to conduct myself in business. He created opportunities for me that have helped my family. On my last day at LCP, it was a bit of a surreal moment because it had been such a tremendous experience and such a deep friendship that we hugged goodbye, and he said to me it was a good run. And it was a good run.